right, so we'll get started in like 2 minutes. If anyone else would like some more food, we have plenty going here. I'm sure we can pass it around, whatever. I think maybe just put it over. Yeah, you look like you need more.
Yeah, no. He just come in and said he's friend of David. And he don't want to pay. And I got her his name card.
Okay, yeah, I know who he is. All right.
I asked whether we want to pay for that.
Okay, I'll take
I
it.
don't think David recognizes kind of brand, but that kind of.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah, that's why I was like, I saw him like, okay, that's how it goes. All right, no problem.
Smart. Just recognize that.
Yeah, the guy's so shifty.
I smell it.
Yeah, he wanted to meet me a couple times. Like, so yeah, in the future, he's really paying attention. Well, don't literally like stand. All right, well, welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you all for coming out tonight, and thank you for Green Common, Green Monday for hosting us this evening. We have the founder here, so it makes it really easy, and he's speaking tonight. So I don't know. We have a small group tonight, and I was actually thinking it might be easier since I didn't see anyone really mingling around. Just like as a starting point, like just introduce yourself, say your name, who you're from, and maybe why you're here tonight. You were first. 你是第一个人. So 介绍一下.
说中文 OK 吗？我们是做道具行业，就客户有哪里大学，这些，所以我们看来参加会议看有没有对我们行业有一些道具有受在历史这方面还是有相关的信息。
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Cheng, and I'm a marketeer, and I'm here today because I believe in sustainability and in the future, whether for individuals or for business models, to be the future trend. So this year, because I'm curious about like how brands are able to convey this idea to the world.
I'm David. I'll be speaking. And I'm the founder of Green Monday. Thanks for the food. Enjoy the food, yes? Yes. Hi, I'm Vincent. I'll be speaking there tonight. I'm in the textile fashion business for 15 years. Cool. Hi everyone, I'm JB. I'm involved in furniture and decorations. My company is going to be more and more involved in CSR in the near future. Remake Hub by Remake Hub, so I decided to come here and learn a bit more. That I can start to work. Hello everyone, I'm Eli from New York. I work for Ernst & Young on the blockchain team, and I'm here because I know David, and I think this is the future of food.
Hello, my name is Thibault from France. I've been working in digital transformation. Looking forward to actually transitioning towards sustainable transformation. So happy to meet sustainability people.
My name is Andy. I work in the software industry and we build software for companies to calculate
introduction, but I figure before introducing
Just a brief introduction.
what they're doing and why they're here. So I'm Allblu. I moved to Hong Kong. I moved to Shanghai from Hong Kong a year ago. I'm actually a CIO for Manila Cycle Camera Insurance Company. During daytime, and I am actually an investor for sustainability business, and recently we bring our business into China as manufacturing carbon reduction consulting. So trying to meet people in the same industry and help the business in China.
Okay. Hi, I'm Wendy. I've already talked to many of you, or maybe some of you know my background. I'm from the Green Monday Partnership Development team. So part of my job is helping people to help them more easily to adopt a sustainable lifestyle. But at the meantime, the reason I'm here, actually, I'm not the host of this event, but I want to join this section as well because we're not just a restaurant. We are not only on the plant-based brand. But at the meantime, we also work close with the corporate or the school, or we need to provide a solution for many restaurant or F&B sectors. So that's why I think I can have more information to share with our clients through this event.
Great. Well, welcome again, everybody. We have a few more people coming in, and obviously more food to finish. So with that as a start, I'm the founder of Collector Responsibility, and I guess I'm the facilitator, the host, as it were, tonight, the reason why you're here, although you're definitely here to hear them, not from me. So Collector Responsibility has been around for about 7 years now in Shanghai, and our main focus really is just sustainability. I'll kind of give our big theme here, but this platform is separate from our consulting platform in that we're trying to really bring the community together, talk about the issues that are important to us here locally, but also try and level us up to the global level. So bringing people together, building bridges is a big part of what we're trying to accomplish here. Usually I make fun of carbon. I say, global warming is not something we have to worry about, and we're not here to save the polar bears, but obviously the last couple months have kind of thrown all that into backwards. I usually talk about what's happening here locally, but obviously through the IPCC report, as well as the flooding that's been happening here, Germany, US, the wildfires now kicking off kind of globally as well. This is a topic that we need to be talking a lot more about, but then also making it very tangible in terms of the food and the materials that we'll be discussing tonight. I've been here almost 20 years, and the beautiful thing about being in Shanghai for so long, I really believe this is the best city in the world to be in when it comes to sustainability, because we get to really see what's happening. It's very tangible. The city itself is built on, obviously, tons of systems. And so for us at Collective, what we try and do is look at the systems that kind of deliver an urban economy and back that up. Where are the failures happening? Where are the externalities impacting people? And then what can we do as NGO, investors, corporate, entrepreneurs, internal innovators, whatever it may be, to drive change? Because we all kind of, I know a lot of you. You've been here for a long time. You remember this in 2014, 15, 400 plus days, crazy bad API up in Beijing, right? But it wasn't just in Shanghai, it wasn't just in Hong Kong or in Beijing. It was every city in China that was being monitored, about 142, with the exception of Sanya. That was the only green dot on the entire map. And so we're really trying to figure that, because the dots on the map are not working in our favor. I think this is one of David's favorite animations I used to pull out. But basically in the year 2000, this is our urban footprint. 453 million in China, 288 in India, 141 in Brazil. By 2030, we roughly double that, right? So we go to 900 in China, 590 in India, and 198 in Brazil. And by 2050, we're a full 8 billion people in the cities. And so when I talk about systems, and I'm talking about this issue here, the kind of relationship between moving from rural to urban footprints at the numbers that we're doing is really the topic that we are going to be chasing for a long time. How do we feed these people? How do we keep energy going? How do we maintain water supplies? I just spent time last year in the southwest of the U.S. Right now, Lake Mead is the lowest it's ever been. Hoover Dam is struggling to keep power on, and that means Vegas and Phoenix are at threat. Well, that's not just the U.S., that's also happening globally. So how do we maintain those things? And I think it really comes down to how we work together. Now tonight, we're kind of wrapping up the third in our series around consumerism, where we talked, the first one was about circular economies, the second was like the consumer habits themselves. And tonight, I really want to wrap up with materials, because I think we talk a lot about like what the government's going to tell us to do, what consumers should do to be superheroes, you know, buy a parlay shoe, or, you know, what crazy entrepreneur, we have a couple of crazy entrepreneurs here actually, so I can't make fun of them too much. Can we get a side-by-side on that one? You know, and like what they're creating to make this all easier for us. And I find that a lot of times we're kind of gaming the system. The marketing's way ahead of the actual operations, the supply chain, the process. And for me, this is where materials gets really interesting, because, you know, we studied for about 8-9 months the material system in terms of like where it all goes. And basically what we're trying to figure out is, you know, where does it go? Does it go to a better place? And then what does it happens afterwards? Is it upcycled, downcycled, recycled? And the reality is a lot of it's just lost because the materials themselves are not valuable. But we have some real innovations happening, 2 of which will be spoken here tonight, about how do we deliver sustainability through materials, but also through platforms. And we have another joiner with us online who will talk about the development of her platform and the platform they're building up in Beijing. And the other thing I really think about is Asia is where we're seeing the most scale, but it's also where we're seeing the most innovation. I really believe in the story of Asian-based entrepreneurs and the systems and the solutions that we're delivering. And that's why this series is all about what's happening here. So we have 3 amazing speakers, but we have amazing sponsors as a starting point. So thank you guys for doing this, for putting this together, and for delivering some of the food that here, they've been launching it, the fish. It's a brand new product, a brand new material. I think he's going to talk about how they came up with it. And it's something that could shift a lot of diets and a lot of impact. And that's what we really want to have. So we have 3 fantastic speakers. We have Vincent, who will come up first. Sorry, first is always coming. And then Yunan, she's online. And then David will wrap us up and talk about the ecosystem. And so with that, I'm going to have Vincent come up and talk about all the work he's doing. As you see, he's got a few titles. I won't introduce him fully, but Cheng that's a family business, garments, internally trying to work that out. But then he's working really material innovation and chief strategy for Remake Hub, which is a great organization here locally. So with that, Vincent, I'm going to give you this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So thanks for being here tonight. So tonight I'm going to talk about the golden age of material innovation in fashion. That's what I always really believe in. Oh, okay. Is that we're really in an age of golden age of material innovation. Like we have the food right here, and the things we're wearing. We have a lot of innovations. That's last time I've seen this much innovation at probably like 100 years ago. Okay. So this is me. I'm 15 years in the textile fashion business. So I have 3 titles here. One is Remake Hub. I'm the co-founder. So what Remake Hub we do is that we turn things that you don't want, trash, and waste into something new again. So we turn shoe waste, used shoes, people discarded shoes into new fixtures for pop-up stores. We turn bottle caps into medals for marathon medals. And then we also turn fishing nets into sunglasses. So that's what we do there. And now we're also working into developing new materials. I'm also the director of Cheng Garments. That's my family business. That's garment business means is that we make clothes for high-end contemporary brands in Europe. We've been in business for over 45 years. And so I pretty much grew up in this business. And then I could really see from ever since I was born in that how the industries really evolves. And also I'm the chief material innovation officer for a local brand called Allblu. They're one of the leading direct-to-consumer kids brand in China. They're one of the top ones. So in there we really focus on, because it's kids wear, so what we do is really focus on the product safety and sustainability for the family. Okay, so the driving force of new material innovation. So why do we have always have these new materials coming in? Here I'm using an example of stockings. Okay, way back in the days, in the early 1900s, the stockings were made from silk or cotton and other natural materials. And then because it's silk, it's expensive. So not a lot of people could use it, right? And then in the 30s, then we came with the synthetic materials with nylons, and that changes the whole ballgame, because nylon is a durable material, and it's also cheap to produce, and it's very scalable. So and then we have all these silk stockings. But now, why I'm putting this picture here, it seems like a normal stocking here, but this company in Canada, what they're doing is this stocking is made from pretty much the material for Kevlar. Why are they doing that? Because nylon stockings, they break very easy, right? They snag very easy, and then it's not very sustainable because it's not sustainable. It cannot go forward like that because there's a lot of waste in there. So they develop and having these stockings, they're made of that. It will last a lot longer. And actually in their websites, they have one of these stockings hanging on like a 5-10 kilos fire hydrant, so you can see how tough it is. So materials has always been better, cheaper, and faster, but now it also has to be more sustainable, and that's how you can see the evolution. And it's this kind of evolution, this kind of innovations also happening in the packaging industry and other industries. Like you have the Coke bottles, back then it's from glass, and they want to save away to some steel, aluminum, now plastics, and then now they wanted to change to, okay, can we use paper or recycled materials? So you can see that's how it evolves. So because Rich wants me to talk about how, because I have 3 roles. I'm working with materials, I also work with the manufacturing, kind of like a converter, and I also work at the brands level. So I want to share how we see what in each of these stakeholders, what do we want for materials, okay? Of course, we all want sustainable materials. That's a given, all right? But then as a material producer, we want something scalable. Meaning scalable is that something that is abundant. Once it's scalable, because when you can have a scalable, abundant material, then the price can come down. These two actually goes very hand in hand. And then material producers, they also want to have a story, because why? We need to have a story for the materials. Because brands want us to have a story to sell to the consumers. A lot of the brands now, they want to tell the consumers what they're doing to create that brand stories. And what is interesting is that materials now become part of this story. It's like how in computer industry, we have Intel Inside. If people wants to buy a computer with Intel, they kind of pioneer, I think they kind of pioneer that movement. So in the converter manufacturer, where we do manufacturing, we produce garments for brands. Well, what do we want besides sustainable? We want consistency and stability. What do I mean by consistent and stable? Is that because we are using this material, okay, to dye it and to produce it into final garments. If this material, it's okay, it's great, it's scalable, it has a good price, but if it's not consistent, meaning every time I'm trying to dye it or I weave it or when I'm sewing it, it's all kinds of problems. That doesn't work for us. It is not consistent. It means more cost and longer lead time. And of course, price is very important. And finally, what brands want in the new material is that first thing, they want a story. They want this material to have a story where they can tell the consumers that you're buying something that it's not just a product itself, it's also helping the environment. It's changing how the world it is. So they want that story. And then they also want to be first to the market. These two things, story and first to the market is actually very important for a lot of brands in China. If you open up Taobao, you see in the fashion category, a lot of brands, they will spend a lot of time, a lot of description, pictures, copy on how they talk about that material. How is that it's better than the other, and they also all want to have that first to the market, because if they're first to market, they believe they can be. Everyone's like, oh, okay, they have that material. It's like we think about the ocean waste. Okay, we think about Parley. Okay, they want to have that kind of affiliation, and of course, price is very important. So you can see here, it's one very common thing is that besides sustainability, material needs to have a story, and price is very important, because the price is all. One thing is that we've been using this petrol-based materials for a long time. These industries are very, very huge, and they produce tons, million tons every day, and because of that, their prices are very low. And if we need to replace that, brands are very worried about that. The consumer won't pay a whole lot more. They believe that consumer will pay more. They won't pay a whole lot more for it. So that's why the price is a very important factor of it. So we can see that story, price, scalability. So what kind of the things that brands and material producers all want now, especially on the brand side, is that everybody wants something that is bio-based. They don't want anything that is petroleum, anything that's bio-based. That's kind of funny, because back in 200 years ago, everything is bio or animal-based, right? Now we're kind of going back to that, right? And they also want something that is biodegradable. Biodegradable, it's not an easy thing, especially when you go talking about something like this, clothing, because just a simple polo shirt like this, you have the threads, which most of them made from polyester. Yes, this is made from cotton. This embroidery threads is either viscose or polyester, depends on what brand wants. The hand tag here, the label here is from polyester. So that means if you want to biodegrade this thing, how are you going to degrade this? Yes, maybe this materials, we can change it to some biodegradable material, but what about the threads, the labels, and everything? And the thing is that, where are you going to biodegrade that? I don't really believe in everybody throw their things they don't want into the backyard or have a pot and try to grow flower. I don't believe that. They just don't degrade. If it degrades that easily, we won't dig out all the dirt and find like traces of cotton fabrics or linen fabrics from thousands of years ago, right? So this is actually a very complicated part of it. But a lot of brands want to sell this thing because consumers believe, okay, bio-based, biodegradable, it's the best. Okay, and also recyclable. Recyclable, we have a lot of now clothing made from recycled PET bottles and so on. But is that really the best way of using it? Okay, and then another part is that we're creating so many of these products, clothing. How are we going to recycle this? There's right now really no commercial, scalable supply chain to recycle this and to close the loop, to turn it back into a new garment. Okay, so this is where we're still facing a lot of challenges. And of all these things here, I put down a lot of functionality, like lightweight, moisture wicking, warmth. The reason why I put this is that these keywords on there is because we're seeing, Rich mentioned earlier, we're having wildfires, extreme heat, extreme rain, torrential rain. So a lot of brands now, they want is functionality on the clothing, okay? And it's very interesting is that the last couple months, a lot of my European customers all want to do raincoats because of the rain, yeah. And so it means is that brands want something that is bio-based, biodegradable, and also has this extra function that makes that chemistry just a whole lot harder, because normally you can do this kind of function with oil-based, petroleum-based chemistry. But if you want to turn this chemistry into bio-based, that's a whole new different ballgame. Okay. And one interesting thing I think it's lately is developing is textile waste. I see textile waste is not just a waste itself. It is actually a material. A lot of brands now they're working with some company to renew the clothing. So they will renew some of the dead stocks and so on. And what they are doing is turning this textile waste into something new and useful again. And we are seeing this happening in China also. So I believe is that in the future, besides bio-based, these functional bio-based materials, textile waste, the things that we don't want, clothes that we don't want, they will play an important role in the wardrobe of the future. Here are some interesting technologies that startups that I want to share here. Something that I think they are quite cool. RenewCell, some of them you probably heard of them. What they're doing is that they are right now is commercializing a cotton and polyester recycle supply chain. So what they do is that they could take some of this used clothing, okay, and then turn them into new good materials again, just like new ones. So there's actually a few other companies are doing the same, have something similar technology, but you won't see something like this in the market in a scalable way I think in about 2 years. Again, material, it takes a long time to develop. Okay. Here, Microworks, they're the mushroom leather. A lot of people probably read about it. The mushroom leather is a really big thing right now. And this company, they're just one of the few companies that are working on developing this mushroom materials. And here, there's another one I think is very interesting, is LancerTech. What they're doing is that they're doing a carbon capture. They're capturing CO2 and then turn them into monomers for new materials, for polyester materials. Because a lot of our petroleum-based materials are rich in carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. So if you have CO2, what are we gonna use it with you? We have to restore so much, we capture so much CO2 because we have to go carbon zero, right? Then one of the good ways actually is to turn it into new materials again, the building blocks of new material. And I just want to share some of the things we're doing here in Remake Hub that is related to what I shared earlier. Here is a Albert's pop-up store. So what we did here is that turn some of the shoe waste into new fixtures for a pop-up shop. So that's we see is a new way of using it. But we think that it's nice, but this is not. It's kind of like a hybrid car. It's not fully electric, but it helps because we're using some of this waste. Okay, but eventually we will still want to close the loop to shoes back to shoes, and we are working with some of the brands to see how we can get the shoes into some other products that are just not here and then can be recycled again. Okay. Here is a piece of bio-based polymer leather, or you want to call it. It's made from fruit waste. So we are developing a leather that it's made from 100% is from fruit waste because we consume a lot of fruit. And then especially from the drinks and so on. So there's a lot of fruit waste, and also it's from the food industry. So we want to turn this fruit waste into something useful that we can use it in the consumer goods market again. Here, this piece of white circle thing, it's a mushroom leather that we're working on. So we want to be one of the few mushroom leather startups in the world. So that we are working on this new material right now. So these two are the two cool things that we're working on. But these are the things that we're still continuing to work with brands on. And finally, a couple of things is that material technology is really the new cool thing. Blockchain is cool, yes, but material is very cool too. And I can see a lot of brands and a lot of companies now looking for material scientist. Okay, you can see that materials can make food out of it. New material technologies. It's a really cool thing. But that we're still really still very far away from what we can do to do the sustainable clothing, because material is just one part of the whole equation. Okay, you have sustainable bio-based, biodegradable material, but you can see from this clothes, you have buttons and other things. So, okay, that means you have to turn out these things into renewable, recyclable materials. And the challenge will be, do you have the right supply chain for that? How are you going to deal with the transportation? And every country, Europe, US, China, they all have different rules, regulations, and product safety requirements. So how can you build a product that is biodegradable or fully recyclable or compostable in China and also in the US as well as in Europe? That is a major challenge. And I think is that a lot of brands are talking about the 2030 goal, zero waste, using renewable materials and so on. It's a great goal. But in order to really close that loop, we are still quite far away. And there's a lot of work needs to be done. And that work needs a lot of collaboration, like Rich talked about earlier. It's not just about material, but it's on transportation, with marketing people. Every facet of the businesses have to come together and to work together in order to solve this major challenge. Okay, so that's what I want to share. Any questions?
I'll take a couple. I have one question about your Allbirds while I work out the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're trying to close the loop, and I kind of feel like, okay, we've diverted.
Yeah.
But is that making it more or less recyclable for the next step?
Actually, that can be. We can use that again, because fixtures you don't normally you can use it a long time, and also this material is mixing with cement. We can grind it up, break it down, and then we can use it again. So if they are building something, let's say they want to make the benches.
Yeah, let's go back up. Oh, sorry.
Again, yeah, we can do it. We can use the same thing again. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. One more question? I have to set up the Zoom. We're doing our first Zoom in. So.
I'm a bit curious because I think like the Remake Hub is very cool idea. I'm a little curious about like the motivation, the initial motivation you have for creating this enterprise. Like, was it because it's a technology just because now we can do it, but before we're not able to? Or do you see like this is in the future is going to be a trend for the brands or consumers, or is it because like currently the investors are focusing increasingly in this area? Like, what would be the main?
When Remake Hub, when we started, we were just trying to upcycle some clothes. We were just basically, turning some of these old sweaters into pillowcases and cushion cases and so on. But it's slowly evolved into, because the brands have the demand. They give, okay, you guys can do this. Can you guys do this for us? So it's a journey, so that we are actually, we see that we're growing with the brands into this area, that we do the R&D and work with them to solve these issues they have.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll bring you up later for more questions.
Okay, thanks.
Great. All right, next we have Cui calling in from Beijing with Yiko Eats. Originally, she had planned on joining us physically, but we all kind of went quarantine, can't travel, and so for her to come down here and then go back would have been a big problem.
Okay, so I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so sorry I couldn't be there with you guys because of the COVID issues. So I really thanks Richard to give me this opportunity to introduce my brand and introduce what we do. So our brand is called Yiko Eats. So here is some like founding stories. In 2014, my friend Vincent, and he started this company by collaborating with the local hotels, because both of us don't have really nice like restaurant experience. So we use the hotel the kitchen to providing us the meal, and we sell it online. It's called like O2O by that time. So this is how we started. And for now, we have 15 delivery only community kitchens in Beijing. And and we use the ceramic bowls with the silicone lid. It's like the first image. This is our signature bowls with the lid, and we deliver it to the customers, and we pick it up by the leader. So this is our mission. We're offering the most personalized dining experience. So that's the first sentence is describe us better. It's we believe the tailored home cook makes lives better. So we have like really simple ideas. We just want to providing really nice, warm, clean home-like dishes to our customers. So we've except that we focused on the meal, how we cook, we also focused on the how we deliver it to the customers, how the user experience looks like. So we finally found the ceramics bowls and the silicone lid, just like this picture, and it's kind of like have safety. Safety, they won't have falling down, and we it's keep it warm and looks clean. And also the ceramic bowls for the Chinese people, it's like childhood memories. It always reminds you of how the mom's cook tastes like. So this is our team. Wen Yuchen is our founder, and his experience tells us why we want to use the ceramic bowls, because he worked at the food and the brand lab at the Cornell. And basically this lab is a study of why people want to decide what they eat, decide how they eat, because it's not only because of what they want or what the taste like. It's also because of the light and the environment, the color, the containers and the packaging, also what their families or what they say decides what they want to eat. So that's why we choose to use like a kind of like the ceramics packaging to delivery. And my name is Yunan. So this is our experience, because I studied for apparel merchandising and fashion design. So for a designer, we always have the like fantasy is make world better and make our lives better. So that's why I put so much effort on how to design the bowl and how to make them to easy to delivery, and what kind of a portion it's fit for the customers. And Ray, he is a typical IT guy. It's really thanks for him to create the whole system for supporting this recyclable packaging delivery system. So our system is written and designed by him. So this is what we do. This is the whole process. So customer can order online anytime, and every order will send it to our kitchen, and our chefs will see which kind of dishes is for which of the orders, and it's also easy for us to tracking every dishes to like counting for which chefs cooks which kind of the dishes. And then we want to use the automatically equipment to make sure the cooking efficiency. We don't really want to use the preheat packaging food, because that's not what we do at the home. So we want to make the cooking fresh and like short time to deliver to our customers. So after the dishes ready to deliver it, and we have like a small tag. It looks like this picture, And this is the information tells us which kind of the order and for the which customers and for which chefs cook this dishes, and it's kind of the dishes tracking. And for the whole orders, it's ready. There's a QR code will provide it, and our delivery guys will scan the QR code, and all the information will sending to their phone, and they will deliver to the customer. After 2 hours, after the customer finished, they just put outside the door or the front desk, and our guys will pick it up back to our kitchen, and we clean it up and for the next use. This is the whole process. But I want to introduce it today. It's because we choose this kind of packaging, so we have so many extra work to do. For example, we have self-developed the whole system, like the kitchen system, the ordering system, and also the order tracking system. And secondly, in 2014, there's no mature deliveries crew for us to choose. So we have to hiring like more than 100 people to delivering our dishes. So that's like huge managing problem and also the efficiency issues for us. Just for them to sending to the customer, also pick it up. And for the third thing is because of this is the ceramics bowls, so many customers don't really understand why you want to use this such a thing. It's not really convenient because I have to eat it after I put it outside the door, and I always worried when you're gonna come up to pick it up. Also, they worried if their responsibility to like if the bowl is missing, and they also worried about if it's clean or nice, and what kind of people are using this. So so many customer will like think, so they rather pick the plastic things to instead of the ceramics bowls. So it took us for like almost like 2 or 3 years to communicate with our customers why we want to use, why this is better. On the other side, of course, in like this 6 years, so there still have people will like encourage us to use the ceramic bowls because they think they want to have it warm, nice, presentable, and feel like they eating a real meal. It's not like delivery food with the like pitty things. So by the end time, so we do like instant like for the 60 years. So we call it turtle action because we want to more people will join us to like start using the recyclable packaging for when they are when they're ordering the food. We just counted like if one person ordered 20 times per month, there will be like 40 plastic containers, and it will cost like 7,000 grand carbon oxide. So by the other side, this kind of what we do for the last 6 years. So except for last year, it's COVID-19, we have to use the plastic containers, and still there have like customers say we want you to use the like recyclable packaging bag. That's what we really glad to hear though. So this is a small introduction for our kitchen. We only deliver 3 kilometers because we prepare our food by each orders. So we only can like deliver 3 kilometers from our kitchen. So now we have 15 kitchens. We still want to expand more, and we use like modernize the equipment. Just what I said, we want to make it efficiency. and we get the fresh ingredients every morning. So make sure it's more like fresh cooked from our home. And this is our delivery squad. So because we have to pick it up, so we have our own delivery guys, and we have our own system to tracking them. The tracking will be like we have to give them the tracing routine for which one is first and which one is next, and give them like kind of like managing map to pick up each orders. And this is our own self-developed system, like the order system, customer system, to explain why and how we pick up. And the kitchen visual system is tell us how to tracking each orders, and the delivery system, it's more like navigate the ordering each bowls and how many bowls they have to collect it. So so for the future, we really want to be a 3 kilometers community food station. We want to have more variety, vegetables, berries, and other stuff for in our kitchen. And we also want to open our delivery system to other like merchandisers and also other restaurants. We wanted them to use our system to make the ceramic bowls available, or make them to recyclable for the packaging. So this is our future plan. So so hope I explained like very well for our whole business models. And if you guys have any other questions, like free to ask me though.
Through environment, experience, peer group, and all of that. That really is something that hopefully, if we can find part of that combination that can move the needle, we can really kick off something. And indeed, I guess in the case of Hong Kong, Hong Kong has been, you know, the lab for us, because in the last 9 years, we transformed how people thought about plant-based. I mean, back when I was in Hong Kong, when I moved back to Hong Kong in about 17, 18 years ago, I already turned vegetarian at that time, and 食齋, like 吃素, was like the most unattractive thing. Like, really. In fact, right before I came to Shanghai this time, I was hanging out with a buddy who was my high school friend back in Hong Kong, like from not that long ago. My high school friend. He came to my wedding in 2004, and it was already a vegetarian banquet. He came to my wedding. Now, 17 years later, he confessed something to me. He said, "You know what, David? I want to tell you, you've done a really good job." I'm like, "Wow, thanks." You know, I'm like, "Oh, why do you say that? What makes you think that I've done a really good job?" He's like, "I like your food right now. I think this vegan food, this plant-based food, I can eat it. Like, it's edible." I'm like, "Wow, thanks." You know, so why do you make such a big statement? He's like, "You know, remember that banquet that you threw, you know, when you got married?" I'm like, "Yeah." It was at the Conrad Hotel in Hong Kong. He's like, "Yeah, you invited me." I'm like, yeah. It's like, that night I went home, I instantly cooked instant noodles. And Spam. And now you have a vegan Spam, and the funniest thing and the most encouraging thing is that now he's also a father. He's a father of 2 daughters, and his, I think, younger daughter, who is about 8 years old, is now 90% vegan. 90% vegan. The 8-year-old. And the 8-year-old is now telling her dad, my high school buddy, that, "Daddy, I want to go to Green Common to shop and to eat." And that is the reason why he's becoming so familiar with our products. So, indeed, that transformation can happen. That little story between, banquet 17 years ago, it was not cheap actually. To now, change can happen. So, yes, I'm so glad, I'm always a big fan of Richard and his team because, they do fascinating analysis, great numbers, and also very forward thinking. I first met Richard 7 years ago, before we opened the first Green Common. And even at that time, he gave, insightful data and all that. And I just thought, we need more brains. We need more brains, more creativity, more capital, of course, and everything to really, hopefully, save the planet. And we got about 10 years left, according to Yunan, according to all the scientists. So, glad to be here. I wish I could come here more often. Too bad the border is still closed between Hong Kong and everywhere, but in China too. So it's difficult to make a trip, but it's good to meet all of you. And yeah, let's make this change together. Thank you.
You want to tell them what our meeting was the first time, who was in the room? Because I think that's the most interesting part of this. So I met him, there's like maybe 8 people in the room. The number 2 at Cargill globally, so Paul Conway, literally one below the CEO, COO, the head of McDonald's supply chain globally, and the head of Dow Ag globally. And we spent 3 hours. We didn't even yell at him, right? I was the GMO person, and he was promoting vegetarianism and vegan. And we're talking to like the biggest ag food companies in the world. And actually, I don't know if you know this, we got graded in the 2 weeks in China. Yeah. We had their highest graded meeting.
Really?
Yeah, we were the only 5-star.
Yeah.
They walked out like, wow. And actually, I got flown back to the States. Like, can you come and talk to us in Indiana? And it was really because you think about like a sustainability person and a vegan. I don't know, were you vegan at the time or vegetarian?
Vegetarian.
Either way, like they were just like, why are we meeting with these guys? This is not what we should be doing. Like we should be talking to like bankers and whatnot.
I didn't know why I was invited. Cargill and McDonald's and Green Monday.
That's what some of these people like to do. But it made actually change happen. That was the fun part. And then actually, obviously, seeing him grow quite a bit. So we're going to go through Q&A. So if you can stay at the top, and then let's maybe come back. We have about 20 minutes, and I've already asked kind of questions in between, and I've asked David so many questions over the years. And then Yeung will bring you back in as well. So if you have any questions at all for the 3 panelists, I'll throw you the microphone.
Hi, I'm Jen. I have a question actually for Vincent. I'm very interested in your Remake concept. I actually never heard of it before, but tonight is a very good opportunity and I'm glad that I'm here. So can I get to know more about Remake? Where is this based? And my second question is, are any materials can be remade? Because I'm in the wood and basically plastic industry, we make tools, right? And we do have a lot of waste actually, which is what I'm guilty of and I'm ready to make a change. If I want to be part of your movement, is there any way that I can participate? Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, we're actually based in Shanghai, and we can connect on WeChat later. Yeah, and plastic is one of the things that we actually remake a lot. So we take a lot of these offcuts for production for other things, other consumer goods or whatever, and then we turn those plastic waste into something actually either back to your supply chain or something into another product that you need for. Yeah. Wood, we don't do so much with wood. Yeah, but we could use your wood actually to grow our mushrooms. Yeah.
He has a whole nother pitch for that too.
I don't need that, but actually another question for you. You mentioned the issue of scaling up.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what do you think of like the
scaling up the material, or you mean the closed loop?
I guess more like the production systems and the actual business.
Okay. Yeah. One thing is that all the clothes we wear is made with lots of different materials. Just like this polo shirt here, it has polyester, it has maybe viscose, it has cotton. You know, it's already 3. And if you go to a winter coats, like one of those trench coats, your fabric's probably made from polyester, cotton with nylon or cotton with polyester. And you throw some water repellent, and then you add some backing in the back. It makes it really hard to recycle because you have a natural fiber mixing with a synthetic one, and then you're throwing it with a thermoset. It's just, okay, how are you going to break that down first? How do you separate them? Easy to put them together, but hard to separate them.
The second part of that is more like have you had any big insights or learning in terms of maybe redesigning products or production or supply chains in terms of avoiding or addressing this?
We do work with brands and constantly talk to other experts around the world on how we can solve that issues, but it's quite hard because it has to really start from the brand, the CEO level, the founder level, because you're changing the entire industry that we know for a few hundred years or thousands of years. So it's a lot of collaborations, a lot of thinkings, and at the end of the day, it's very important thing is that the design that you put in will consumers really buy into that. You have to create something that don't look too alien. It's like why it's so successful. The fish is really great. It's because it tastes like what we're eating every day, right? So we have to create something that looks not like alien or something from a futuristic movie. So it's hard. It takes a lot of collaborations and a lot of education and awareness to bring that home.
I'll follow up on that real quick. So for you and for David as well, like in both, we talked about Allblu's when you walked in, and with you, I'd like if possible, like both groups right now are having a lot of difficulty, like the material itself they use and their claims of sustainability, or I don't even call it their claims, like they're being questioned on their sustainability or on their health or on their process. Like, what you guys are doing with your materials is very technical and it's complicated. And most people just want to tweet maybe a hashtag if we're lucky, right? And then they feel good that they've done something. How do you think about that when you are launching a product or when you're formulating a product? Because does it limit what you can do? Like, well, I'd love to use this, but that's nuclear right now. Like, how does that feed into the innovation process for yourself?
We have to find, we have to work with a lot of different experts because bio-based plastics, it's very challenging because the plastic we use in tools industry, because it has to have certain stiffness, stress, strain on all those things. And a lot of those modifications can only be done with petroleum-based chemistry. So we need bio-based. That's a whole new thing. And we sometimes even have to talk to doctors, biologists, to, okay, do you know something how it is? It's different field, pretty much.
I don't comment on other brands' products in the public with camera on.
It's off. Not really, but it's off. But just in general, like, there's a lot of questions, and you have to communicate that. How do you innovate through that challenge?
Well, first of all, from day one, the food that we innovate, besides the fact that it is plant-based, that it is not from animals, I mean, we are fundamentally trying to create better food, period. And better food means obviously good for us. I guess the number one thing is individually. I mean, why we choose that? As much as we're pro-green and sustainability, it needs to be something better for you. So, I mean, we have, besides, food scientists and all that, we have an army of like dietitians and nutritionists who, number one, would not allow us to put not good stuff in the product. That's number one. I mean, they would fight us. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, can we just move just that? And it's like, no. So that's number one. And then two is also from a regulation standpoint and compliance standpoint, just what is actually compliant. And what's the point of creating something, no matter how good tasting it is, or how maybe, without the animal aspect, but that it actually is not compliant. Now, again, it doesn't mean we cannot look at the future and ultimately change or influence regulation. But I guess there is kind of more of the shorter term horizon and the medium term and the long term, right? So, but ultimately with food, it needs to be better. So a lot of people now, Omni Pork, Omni Foods, we just got listed in Whole Foods Market in the US last week, and Sprouts this week. And we're in Woolworth, and we are going into Sainsbury next month. And obviously these buyers scrutinize everything, Whole Foods, right? The fact that number one, Omni products are not just across Asia Pacific, but also going into the US, Australia, UK. Number one, it passed all the tests of the FDA and also the buyer. And second, it passed the test of the consumers. And a lot of people start to realize that, wait a minute, when they compare the food label of Omni, ingredient list is way shorter. The nutrition profile is also, depending on which brand we compare to, it seems, it stacks up very well. It may even be one of the best among the different products. So, from that standpoint, I think that creates kind of the long-term proposition. There is the sustainability angle, obviously the animal-free angle, so no cruelty, much lower footprint, but ultimately taste and health. So those are always going to be our principle in terms of our innovation. Again, I cannot comment on what other companies do, but those are just our principles. Yeah.
A question for both Vincent and David. You have mentioned that these problems are large. Vincent, you talked about it being a technology problem, a strategy issue, right? David, it's about changing consumer behavior. All of these are big problems.